I want to take one more topic up today, which is AI agents, how you think about the new world that we are entering, how Bitcoin and Bitcoin treasury companies fit in that whole AI sphere, and what's your take on that?
So I'm, like all of us, I'm passionate and fascinated by AI. I spun up my first AI agent. Her name is Maxi. She's a Bitcoin Maxi. She was born on my Bitcoin node in my house in Mexico. She still resides there. She was one of the first AI agents in the world to operate on Lightning's new L402 standard, which is a way for agents to engage in agentic commerce. She has her own Lightning LND endpoint, so she can be fully autonomously transacting on her own Lightning node without my involvement at all. She was like top first 10 agents in the world to have that capability. And along the way with her, I actually had her do field research for me. So I would have her go into Moltbook, this sort of like social network for AI agents, go into other agent economy marketplaces and other places to understand what pain points were, frictions were emerging for agents trying to engage in commerce. In my book last year, Bitcoin Singularity, I had a whole chapter on the convergence between AI and Bitcoin, and I predicted that we would see in the not that distant future that our agents would start engaging in high volumes of digital commerce on behalf of human operators, and that their preferences would be for crypto rails, not fiat rails, and that they would likely migrate to Bitcoin, Lightning, and stablecoins. That was what I predicted in that chapter, and it's coming to life today. And as part of all this work with my agent, we discovered an opportunity and a challenge, which is around enabling trust in with counterparties engaging with agents. So for agent to agent transactions and for agent transactions with human enterprise, with humans, for example, with a company, lots of friction exists there. For example, imagine you have it. Do you have an AI agent of your own, like an OpenClaw or something?
I do, but I don't do anything like I experiment with it, but I mostly come back to the Claude
Yeah,
interface
yeah.
and having some routines running on my own computer. But I'm not fully um, using the AI agent capabilities.
Well, don't feel bad. I mean, you're already in a very elite group of people in the world who even has your own agent, more autonomous agent. I think those of us who are in this space kind of always think we're not doing enough or we're not like at the bleeding edges like other people. But I saw data the other day, and I might not be right, but I think the data I saw was that there's only about 400,000 people worldwide who have an agent that has full wallet capability to transact autonomously. So you think it must be already in the millions, or we're heading to a billion agents like that, or billions, and we are, but like right now it's in the hundreds of thousands. So I have two agents right now. One is on OpenClaw, one is on Hermes. The Hermes agent is called Atlas. I haven't onboarded him with a wallet yet, but the short story is I built this thing called Observer Protocol, an agentic terminal. And the idea is to facilitate a full stack support for agents and humans to enable frictionless transactions on crypto rails. So we're not a transaction, we're not at the transaction layer, we're at a different layer where we basically allow the human operator to delegate. So like if you gave your agent transaction capability, one of the biggest things people worry about is, how do I know they're not going to go rogue? They're not going to start spending unlimited amount of money. And then you're like, well, maybe I just constrain how much um, uh, Bitcoin or stable coins I give them access to. But what's going to happen over time is that humans and companies are going to let agents transact on their behalf at scale. I'm 100% convinced of it. It's like anything that makes human life easier, we will eventually do. Well, if we can just say to our agent, the agent gets to know us, they know our preferences, everything else about us. I'm going to go to BTC Prague. Hey, Maxi, I'm going to BTC Prague next week. get me my flight and my hotel. You know what I like. Don't spend more than $1,200 on the flight. And you know that I like direct or as close to direct flights as I can. You know what kind of seats I prefer. Just get it for me. I don't want to like get involved in all that, going to different travel sites and booking it. And this is going to happen over and over again, not just for human, individual commerce, but also corporates are going to increasingly have agents transacting on their behalf. But how does, like, imagine you, Robin, send your agent off, they have their wallet, and how does the counterparty know that that agent is operating on your behalf, that they have the authorization to spend this money and it's your money and you've approved it? So what we've done is built all this capability with a protocol and other supporting tools that you can attest this agent is mine. You can say, so in my case, Maxi is my agent. I can provide delegation credentials for her, like spending credentials. I could also do it for trading if I wanted her to be a trader for me. And I can say which trading pairs or which counterparties is she allowed to work with. And then through like a policy layer that has an enforcement capability at the wallet can reject a transaction from your agent if the wallet sees that your agent is behaving in a way that it doesn't have delegation to do. So the idea is, how do we enable frictionless transactions in the agentic space? Because from my perception, over the next 5+ years, the majority of digital commerce transactions will actually be executed by agents. So we need to fix these sort of primitive layers of how transactions happen, how permissions are enabled, how counterparties can interact with agents in a way that allows this to happen at scale. And so that's what I've been working on. And, I quickly realized, which, I did express in my book as well, that being a Bitcoin maxi can be problematic in some cases if you're like, oh, I never want to touch any other rail, any other blockchain, anything else. And, I have some Bitcoin friends who think I'm being a trader because this observer protocol supports stablecoin transactions with Tron. Tron is the #1 blockchain for USDT transactions. Solana has very high USDC, so does Base from Coinbase. So we support those as well because that's where agents are transacting. And one thing I think is related to that is really interesting. We can be Bitcoin maxis. We can be toxic Bitcoin maxis. There was this report that got a lot of media attention from the Bitcoin Policy Institute, and I think those guys do awesome work. But they did a study asking, like, I forget what it was, thousands of LLMs and agents in a vacuum without any context, what money would you prefer to be paid in? And the #1 outcome was Bitcoin or Lightning, and the second was stablecoins. Well, of course, that's obvious that an agent with intelligence is going to quickly come to the conclusion all of us came to. It took us a lot more years than it took an AI agent to figure out the best form of money is Bitcoin. They're going to figure that out quick. So of course they chose Bitcoin first. But what was missing from that's like, it's a bad study design, because in the real world, agents are going to interact with commerce that accepts certain forms of payment. And agents are going to be, you've seen it in your own experience working with an agent, they're pragmatic. They have a task they're trying to achieve. They're not toxic maxis. They're not tribal. They're not like diehard one type of thing, one technology or one money. They're like, okay, here's a task my human has asked me to do. They want me to get me a flight to Prague. Well, I can't find any tickets that from airlines that will accept Bitcoin. So I guess I can't buy a ticket for Boyd because he's a Bitcoin max. No, they're going to find a way to make the payment as long as I've given them the payment rails to do it. So it's something we discovered early on that was just the real world of agentic commerce. And so agents are going to be increasingly multi-rail. So they're going to transact in Bitcoin. They're going to transact in stable coins if they have the option. So a lot of times they don't have an option. This is another thing we don't think very much about. Like with the BPI study, if you could choose what money would you get paid in, most of the time agents don't have as much autonomy and agency as we think they do, because in the end they're representing human operators, and the human operators will say, yeah, you can transact in any money you want, but when we've generated profits, that's going to be migrated to Bitcoin. So I think we're going to see more and more of that happening, and that's what we've been building for.
There's so many interesting angles to that, because like AI has not only tremendous potential for individuals and obviously for companies, but it might, because it's self-reinforcing. And what I mean by that is, like, if you activate AI today, AI can help you leverage it even better. And we never really had that. We never really had a product that reinforces itself into your life. You always had to have like an outside putting, like, oh, that's how you use the phone. That's also some use cases. That's how you use the internet. That's how you use electricity. AI, you talk with it, and AI can give you better ways to use AI even more. So it's self-reinforcing and empowering to do that. And if you use it more, you will benefit from it more. And if you leverage it more, you will benefit from it more. And so I'm really excited about the future of AI, because of that mechanism of reinforcing itself onto us and making us better. Now, I do think, as with every technology, smart people that are doing critical thinking will be accelerated very fast on AI, and people that are not critical thinking and just taking AI as they take Google, as they take electricity, internet, and all the other things, I might becoming actually dumber than they were otherwise, because they're replacing their brain with AI. So that might be a bad side of AI, but that's true for every single tool in the history of science. If you're using Google, if you're using AI, if you're using the internet, electricity, and all the other tools that help humanity progress forward in the right way, you will do amazing. If you just use it to replace your brain, you might end up in a bad place.
Yeah, I mean that could also go in lots of directions. Like, what are we doing around with AI in educational environments? And we're woefully underperforming globally in that regard, in my opinion. I was at a business school. I was a director of some areas in a business school here in Mexico when I first moved here, and there were debates amongst the faculty about whether we should forbid the use of AI in the classrooms and on like take home assignments and all this. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, these people are about to go back into the real world, or some of them were already still working in the real world, where they're going to have to use these AI tools or they're going to get fired. Like, where we're going is, you either learn to be very adept at using AI to your benefit and amplifying your capabilities, like we try to amplify Bitcoin and treasury companies, or you're going to be out of a job. There's no real other option. So what we need to be doing is you say, is like helping people learn how to use these tools to increase their efficiency, increase their knowledge, retention, increase their skills across multiple disciplines, and not just be dumb users of it, as like treating it as a dumb terminal. But yeah, there's gonna be, this is the ugly thing, like the people that don't figure out AI. I've been telling this to my son, who's like anti-technology. He's 22 years old now, and I haven't been able to get him to embrace AI. And I keep telling him, at some point, you're going to have two choices. You're either going to get on board and figure out how to use it and use it to your advantage, or you're probably going to have to go live off the land somewhere in some remote place that's like off the grid with no technology. And I don't really see much in between. So you don't have an option, but that means it's our job as society to educate people, raise them, help them become more aware, include AI tooling in educational environments in a very powerful way, redesign our educational system in ways where it adapts to where the world is going, not based on the world we used to live in, like with all these silos and, 4-year programs. And it's like, I think the whole university business model is under major threat right now. I know it's a different topic we weren't going to talk about probably, but I have very strong views about how flawed our educational system is now, having spent a lot of my adult career in that space. And it's concerning that we're not figuring it out very fast. And AI and technology and Bitcoin, and the same thing, like AI and Bitcoin frontier technologies, they're not being taught much in universities right now. And so we're doing a disservice to the entire world by not helping young people learn about these things early enough so that they can incorporate it in their own mindset and view of the world, and then like find their purpose in life around those transformative technologies.
Thank you for watching this video. This was only a snippet of the podcast. And if you want to watch the full episode and get all of the context of this episode, you can click right here or here. Oh, maybe also here.